Welcome to yet another interesting package of CSR Digest. CSR Digest is a program put together by Total Exploration and Production Nigeria Limited to x-ray some of its corporate social responsibility programs to host and neighboring communities. Today on CSR Digest, we are looking at Peace as a Panacea for societal development, and of course, Total EMP has taken its peace campaign to various schools in their host and neighboring communities through the YKPN, talking about the Youth Connect for Peace Network, where they held their program in Calabar, Cross River State capital.
You have come off your shell to be a beacon to the world. You rise like the sun, let the darkness fade. Chaos is never a ladder, it begets atrocities. Let's rise like the sun till the darkness fade. How long must we stand by and look as the world that was built in unity fall apart? Don't you know the change you need, it begins from inside of you? Oh, don't you know that there is no limit to what we can achieve if we come together, stand on our feet with our hands lifted high? That's who we are. We stand for peace. We stand for peace. It's YKPN. You have made up your mind to bring the future that we need. No matter the cost, let love flow through you. We stand by and look as the world that was built in unity fall apart. Don't you know the change you need, it begins from inside of you? Oh, don't you know that there is no to what we can achieve if we come together, stand on our feet with our hands lifted high? That's who we are. We stand for peace. We stand for peace. It's YKPN. You have come off your shell to be a beacon to the world. You rise like the sun, let the darkness fade.
The high rate of youth restiveness across schools, colleges and universities in the country is so alarming, such that society is in danger of different cult groups infiltrating the good few. You realize that the United Nations adopted 12th August every year as International Day to celebrate the youths and draw attention to the issues of their development, with this year's theme, Transforming Education. Education, as you know, is beyond the physical infrastructure in schools, but the transformation of pupils and students to become better persons in society. But how can we transform education without transforming the people? These and many more questions has his answer provided by the Youth Camp program organized by Youth Connect for Peace Africa and sponsored by Total Exploration and Production Nigeria Limited. Held in Tinapa Resort, Calabar, the Cross River State capital, the summer boot camp afforded participants the opportunity to interact, share ideas, connect, and engage in entrepreneurship skills as well as physical, mental, and spiritual exercises. In realization of the importance of youths in the development of society, Total Exploration and Production Nigeria Limited ensured that the youth camp was structured to inspire, educate, and enlighten them to be better persons. This, according to the Deputy Managing Director, Port Harcourt District, Total EMP Nigeria Limited, Mr. Gulame Dulau, was aimed at discouraging idleness, cultism, pipeline vandalism, and other forms of social vices.
This program therefore underscores our commitment to align our actions and development plans with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and in further demonstration of the premium which the NMDC-TEPNG joint venture attaches to the importance of youth in the development of the society.
Participants made several presentations to the admiration of guests.
I plead to all organizations who are capable of helping the e.g. COSEL, NMPC, West Africa Foundation, ETC to continue, and other organizations that have not received this should try and receive it, so that our country in the next few years will be a better place.
I will advise everybody that we should come together and take our responsibility, and if we do this, the world will be a better one. Rather than advising our parents that we need a lot of years there. Start conversation, let's celebrate my mind. Not to be timid but kind. What companies should do the same if there will be a thing? YKPN will treat system, and yes, someone said there will be a next time, but not a time. I have passion for a story, but it's YKPN is some story. Imagine a teacher after teaching your students in the classroom, on the day of the exam, you still go back to assist them. This is now the order of the day in our society, and it results in the collapse of education.
Rape, kidnapping, and other crises happen over the world. There are people sitting down here who have the passion of changing our world. But the question arises, how can we change our world? It's a big debate because education is the key to success.
Don't you know the change you need? It begins from inside of you. Oh, don't you know that there is no limit to what we can achieve if we come together, stand on our feet, and hands lifted high. That's who we are. We stand for peace.
There were goodwill messages by the company executives and others.
Examination malpractice and so many other things happening to our society. It will be very important if you go home after this program to put all you learn into practice. It will take you to that which is on the top.
High point of the ceremony was exhibition of different craft fabricated by participants.
This activity improves skills in life and reduce the crime in this country.
So far, this program has been wonderful. It has been entertaining. So far, I've learned new things, new skills, how to make bags, how to make shoes, beads, and other things that can help me aside from academics. And I'm promising Total EMP that I will be a good ambassador for peace and I will stand against any social vice that will tamper the society in the future.
It's a very good idea to stop social vices in the society, and I find it very wonderful.
The things I've learned in this program to help me to develop my community, help to bring employment to my people so that they will not lag behind, so that they will not go and join secret courts and other vices that are not good.
My benefits in this program, apart from peacemaking, is the boosting of self-confidence. It is not easy to stand in crowd and speak, but so far from what I have seen, they've boosted our self-confidence. Due to this fact, I could stand on the stage as the master of ceremony.
Today I have a guest to x-ray some of these issues with me, Goerge Ordu. Goerge Ordu is a youth activist, a public affairs analyst, and a youth leader in Abaebe Mandoni local government area, where Total EMP is resident. Goerge Ordu, you're welcome to CSR Digest.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes. CSR Digest looked into the corporate social responsibilities of the company to host our neighboring communities.
Okay.
Now, like I said in my introduction, Total EMP took its peace campaign to various schools, secondary schools, especially East host communities, to discourage young ones, cultism, pipeline vandalism, and all others. Now, how do you look at that campaign?
It's been one of the best campaigns recently, given all that happened in that area. It's no longer news that that area was ravaged. It was made by insecurity, cultism, and hooliganism and briganism accounted for a large part of the unrest that happened in America. And therefore, looking at the group of people who were largely very active in this in that whole menace, you see there were young people either in secondary schools or young school leavers or dropouts and so on, but they fall within that bracket, that age bracket. So designing a program that it's intended at getting to them and making them come abreast and keep in touch with all that. We keep in touch with all that the ideals for peace that could make peace very sustainable in the communities. That's the best. I think Total EMP did well.
What advice do you have for these youths who may not have had the opportunity to join their counterparts in these camps? What advice do you have for them?
Wonderful, wonderful. Before I answer that, let me give you an experience. Apart from having been part of some of those programs, I was also there some of the times when they conducted the assessment for which will make them qualify to attend these programs. And we interacted with some of the students, I and Ernest and some other persons there. And we saw that when we asked them about the current situation, we saw that there are some people who regarded some of those militants, some of the cultists, as role models. They want to be like them, but you don't blame them. In a climb where you have people who do crime and they are greatly rewarded for it. So it becomes a motivation for these people. And so before the program, we saw that there was great need to sustain reorientation. Now there are people who see these people these persons as role models. And they are there within the schools. And some of them might drop out and probably you have a greater problem tomorrow. So the importance of this program cannot be overemphasized. And as you know, that some of their programs, when you go down there, it affords them the opportunity to go into teamwork. They appreciate diversity.
Exactly.
And they are also taught non-violent strategies.
Okay.
They are also taught to probably
leadership.
They are taught about leadership
skills.
They also give them some level of career counseling and so on, which makes them become focused and motivated. Yes. And so they use non-violent characters, non-violent characters world over as a source of motivation for them. Talking about Gandhi and so on, Mahatma Gandhi, and likes of kings and so on, Reverend King, and others. So these people now see themselves as possible non-violence campaigners for tomorrow. They are now poised, they are charged, they are supercharged to become what they are taught, like some of those models. They're now made to become some of them. These people now see opportunities beyond all that they had thought existed within the confines of crime and criminality. All that crime and criminality could have afforded them, like they saw over there. So when they now go back home, they see there's an opportunity to now interact. They see the opportunity to interact with other people who may not have attended the program. And that's why you see year in, year out, the number of persons who you have interested in that program keep on surging. Like I recall that in one of those occasions, we had to practically beg people to take the exams, to take the assessment. It doesn't cost you anything, but it gives you every opportunity to see the world beyond where you are, from a broader view. So that's it.
Okay.
Okay. Are you talking about?
Because I know you were once a student leader.
That's
I
right.
mean, a student union leader.
That's right.
And all this while in the school, the practice of peace initiatives and all that have been ongoing in schools, even in your days.
Yes.
So, have there been any success story?
If there was a success story,
yeah,
we would have seen it reflect on the society. Okay. So, for the fact that we have a preponderance of crime and criminality, brigandism, thuggery, hooliganism in the society, especially as it is now, shows that some of those things, the efforts were dead on arrival. I mean, they did not meet the purpose. You understand? They failed. Those are failed projects. So, but from what we see, when, like I said, using the YKPN's program, sponsored by Total, as an example, you see that when these people leave, they return a totally different person. And that means the aim of the program has been met. Because when you have a person who has been overmotivated from the negative side, and then he goes for a program, which now serves as a reorientation, that program now helps to redirect him, now makes him see the opportunities that lay outside what he had thought, and how savage and sinister some of the things he appreciated in the past are. And he now comes back a changed man. Now, instead of being motivated negatively, he now becomes motivated to become the best neurosurgeon, to become a president, to become the United Nations Secretary General, to become a peace ambassador, even in his own community. I think you can't, I mean, the purpose has been met.
All right.
Yes.
Now, do you think a 2-week program, a 2-week duration anyway, do you think is enough to reorientate a youth?
Well, I think it's not enough. It's not enough. Just like I said, peace itself, it's a continuum. It's a continuous process. You don't get to a point and say you've achieved peace. So beyond those, we can have that program as an introductory aspect of the peace program, which continues.
And then have a follow-up.
And have other follow-up programs, you understand, that now build upon the strength of that and the impact of that program to achieve long-lasting peace. When you talk about the term, you use the term sustainable peace.
Yes.
What is sustainable peace itself? I mean, it's something that's designed to have peace. It's sustained. I mean, just to put simply, to have peace sustained. So when you have a program that just reorientates people and then they come back and mix with a larger number, where you have a larger percentage of people who don't have this orientation they have, the one they got, people who don't think the way they do, people who were thinking the way they want stuff before they went for these programs and got reoriented. So you now see that there is need for more follow-up programs that will build upon the strength of these reorientation programs.
What advice do you have to other IOCs?
Well, clearly what Total is doing is legendary. It's exemplary, and we've not had it this good. We've not had it like this. So I advise other MNCs, IOCs, TNCs to key in. If we have the light, if you bring a torchlight and in a dark room or in a dark hall and you shine it from one side, you see the rays beaming, it will illuminate a particular area. But if you have lots of them, lots of this torch, or maybe a brighter light, a bigger one that has a bigger coverage, shone in a room, the level of illumination cannot be compared with the other one.
Yeah.
So that means if we have everybody synergizing, especially these MNCs, also keying in and developing programs like this in the host communities, so that we, on the long run, can have that impact felt in the state and nation at large.
Now, we'll take a short break now, and when we come back, we'll continue with the discussion segment. Don't go away.
You have made up your mind to bring the future that we need. No matter the cost, let love flow through you. How long must we stand by and look as the world that was built in unity fall apart? Don't you know the change you need? It begins from inside of you. Oh, don't you know that there is no limit to what we can achieve If we come together, stand on our feet with our hands lifted high, that's who we are. We stand for peace. We stand for peace. It's YKPN. You have come off your shell to be a beacon to the world.
Welcome back to the discussion segment of CSR Digest. CSR Digest, as I said, is a program put together by Total Exploration and Production Nigeria Limited as a feedback mechanism. Now, going back to the discussion segment, George, do you think their youth development policy is in line with what can take Nigerian youth to greater heights?
I would have asked you, is there a policy?
There should be.
Okay.
That should have been.
There should be. I like that. There should be.
Yes.
Well, in saner climes, as we expect Nigeria to be, there should be a policy. And if there is, it should be implemented. I mean, this policy should be pursued at all costs. But surprisingly, you understand the principle of cause and effect. If you initiate a thing, you should see a resultant effect somewhere. So, if what we see in our society today is clearly shows that something has not been done right, then that answers for itself. The government has underperformed in that regard, I must say. I mean, they are not giving so much attention on youth development, and it's telling off. It's rubbing off on the society very negatively. And if we continue like this, the future of the state and the nation is bleak. And that is not what we expect. Although there are lots of empowerment programs out there for youths, but as we know that as it is now, government claims it's unable to cater for the teeming youth of the state and nation. I mean, of the nation. Given that the opportunities out there, they're in great contest. So it behooves us as youth. That's why I still come back to what you said before. The greater responsibility, both MNCs, TNCs, IOCs have a role to play. Even NGOs and all of that have a role to play in ensuring that we have a peaceful climate. Because government alone has underperformed over the years, and we're not expecting it to be very different.
Don't you think the River State governor is doing his best to ensure that all his policies are followed to the letter?
The River State government has been very exemplary in that regard. For his concern for youth, he's a youth-friendly governor, as we know, as much as we know. And just like during the 2009 campaigns, he promised that over 40% of members in his cabinet will be youths. Look at what he did. I haven't seen that lots of community youth leaders and so on, cultists and criminals saw it as an opportunity to hold some level of control in society, and therefore they were clinging to executive positions at the community youth level, leadership positions. What did he do? He had to place a ban and say, okay, there should be profiling to ensure that these are not criminals who are coming to provide leadership. You understand? And in that case, the essence of leadership would not be met.
Yes.
So he has other programs that he had rolled out to ensure that youth in the state are empowered. For example, you look at the level of empowerment. He wrote, talk about the task force. Mm-hmm. Although he came in at a time when it would have been very difficult for any leader, you understand. But somehow, you find him every day struggling to ensure that the unemployment gap in the state is breached. That way, if you talk about the National Youth Council, he has always given them support when it comes to them interfacing with some of these MNCs, some of these companies, to ensure that what is due them is given. Those are you may not hear that always overflowed in the media, but those supports are there. And aside that, you see that when it comes to youth empowerment, the man has been loud on it. The employment he talked about, although which was met with certain irregularities, he suspended and assured that he would still throw it open so that people can get opportunities from this.
And leverage
so
on
I
that.
think leverage on that to have a better life. So I think the man is really doing well. And if other governors, just like we said, other governors take this torch and try to beam it in their own states too, you see that youth development would be admirable in Nigeria.
Thank you so much. All right, so to your fellow youth, what advice do you have for them?
Well, clearly, brigandism has not paid. Cultism has not paid. There are bigger opportunities out there beyond some of the things that we find in our society today. So I advise them to always think peace, embrace peace, pursue peace at all costs. And this is how we get our society better. Surprisingly, there are more opportunities, like I continued emphasizing. There are more opportunities out there, which if we comport ourselves and decide to resolve to pursue peace, that can come down. When people talk about lack of employment, like now you see that although some persons say it's disputable, that Rivers State has been listed as one of the states ranking high on the unemployment scale. But looking at that, if a place is not peaceful, who would want to come and invest? You will not have investors. So when you talk about, now you see people crying out there that there is no job and so on. But if there is no job and you are also part of the activities that have discouraged other investors from coming in, that means you are your problem. So I encourage youths out there to think about peace, to think peace at all costs and pursue it with zest and vigor.
Yeah. That's all we can take on this episode of CSR Digest. CSR Digest will come your way again next week, God willing. Until then, have a blissful weekend. My name remains Ndum Ajie, your anchorman.